Hello everyone, this is ICBs here and today was an unfortunate day when I decided for the sake of my YouTube video to sacrifice 1 hour 40 minutes of my life watching this movie. And I'm here to tell you whether this movie is as bad as everyone were expecting it to be or is it actually really great, just like the reviews that were paid by Disney claimed this movie was. Well, this movie is bad, far more than me or anyone could have ever expected. When I read those positive paid reviews in my earlier video, I didn't really dismiss them, but I still predicted that this movie would still end up being bad. Does that make me a prophet? No, it actually makes me a normal person with more than 2 brain cells. With that said, let's talk about this movie. Now, when I started watching this movie, it was actually alright. I mean, it actually wasn't that bad. With reputation of a movie like this, you'd expect to put forks in your eyes in the first 5 minutes of this movie. But no, dear viewers, this movie is a lot more smarter than that. Kind of like those insect eating plants. The trap doesn't snares immediately when the insect steps its foot inside the plant. The plant waits. It waits for the right moment. And just when that moment happens, snap, its jaws shut and the insect is trapped. The delusion of safety was the undoing of that insect. And much like that insect, I also felt that safety. I thought, hey, this is not too bad. Maybe I can actually watch this movie and not end up wanting to self destruct after watching it. Well, viewers, after 2 hours of a call with my therapist, where I may or may not have cried, I am happy to tell you that I didn't self destruct. The acting from both actresses Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot were fine. Although in the beginning it's a bit awkward to see Gal Gadot, it seems like in some serious scenes she's about to laugh out at the ridiculousness of this movie and then at the final moment stops. And seeing Rachel Zegler sometimes staring dead into the camera and into my eyes and into the abyss of my soul was a bit uncomfortable. But thankfully, that didn't happen for the rest of the movie, only in the beginning. Now, many of boomers, zoomers, Gen X, Y, and Z like yourselves might have watched the original legendary movie, and some of you might have actually liked that movie. But even though the original movie was good and an exceptional innovation of the time, it didn't satisfy your curiosity now, did it? You always found yourself pondering questions like, why does the evil queen only asks one question to the mirror? Or why don't these dwarfs have glowing hands to make the diamonds glow in the caves to help them dig the diamonds? Or maybe after watching the original movie you asked how the economy of this fantasy kingdom is doing, how the average Joe is hanging around, what's the minimum wage in this kingdom? Or maybe you saw the evil queen disguised as the old woman giving the poisoned apple to Snow White and you thought, hey, I could really go for an apple pie right about now. Or maybe you saw the original movie and saw that the Snow White's skin was as fair as the snow. But what if it wasn't? What if it was slightly less fair than the snow? That would really make this movie better. Or maybe you saw the original movie and you saw that Dopey couldn't really talk and you wondered what if he's traumatized and cannot talk because of that. Well, silly goober, Disney finally heard your prayers and finally answered them in what I can only describe as a Soviet torture device. If you are watching this video, you probably want me to call out the actresses Gal Gadot or maybe Rachel Zegler because she gave an interview where she said some things that will probably still give her nightmares to this day. Well, dear viewer, I am sorry to disappoint you. I can't really say the performances were that bad. They weren't good either. They ranged from being average to below average. Then you must be asking if the performances were good. Then why is this movie so bad? Well, if we assume that the plot is the cake, then that means that the performances are just the dressing on the cake that makes what's already really delicious look really good. For this movie, the plot is shit, with some cream mixed with piss thrown on top as the dressing. Yes, dear viewer, the plot is the real enemy here. This movie feels like it has been cut, rewritten, reshot, and remade 1,000 times. And it shows. Well, you probably remember those images we saw on the internet. Well, we all thought that those magical creatures were supposed to be the dwarfs, right? Well, it turns out they are not. They are just 7 merry bandits who happen to be in the same number as the 7 dwarfs from the original movie. Now, I am not the first person to point out the fact that most probably the dwarfs were never meant to be in the movie. Snow White was supposed to be stumbled onto the bandits' camp and the adventure would continue from there. Well, after the backlash of the seven magical creatures set photo being leaked, it is most likely that Disney decided to add the seven CGI monstrosities to appease the fans of the original. That didn't appease the fans of the original. In fact, those dwarfs with their smooth, uncanny faces look so unironically horrible that it makes my skin crawl. And I think thanks to this movie, I have 7 new sleep paralysis demons. And due to the addition of the 7 sleep paralysis demons, the 7 Gunnar bandits have reduced screen time in this movie. So much so that not even all of them talk in this movie. I think I only heard maybe 2 or 3 of them speak, and that includes Jonathan. Dear viewer, the middle of this movie is so bad that I can write just about 7 books on that subject. But I would rather talk about the ending of this movie. In the end, Snow White gets a kiss from Jonathan, and honestly, the kiss felt so awkward that it felt like Jonathan was afraid of kissing Snow White. But in any case, this also feels like a scene added later to bring this movie closer to the vision of the original one. And now the 7 uncanny monsters and the 7 bandits creatures have to fight the queen and overthrow the cruel rule of the kingdom. You know how they all managed to achieve that? Snow White just walks into the kingdom and all of the people awkwardly looks at her and unanimously decides that she's a chill dude and they start to follow her. And in this magnanimous way, Snow White has won the people of the kingdom over. But still some obstacles remain. For instance, the army, and the Snow White courageously uses her talk no jutsu and remembers the names of the guards. And just like that, she has won the army over as well. And the worst is yet to come, my dear viewers, and the worst is so bad that it destroys the entire purpose of this movie. So the queen runs to the mirror in her last moments and asks who is the fairest of all. And the mirror says that I shit you not, it says that your fairness is only skin deep, while Snow White's fairness comes from within. And with that, the queen breaks the mirror and gets trapped inside of it. But, dear viewer, did you not hear what the mirror said? It said that Snow White is fairer because her fairness comes from within. But this asshole of a mirror had been saying that the queen was the one that was fair for so many years. Either the evil queen had a good heart in the beginning, or the mirror just kind of changed his mind towards the end of the movie. I feel like this is the biggest plot hole of this movie that the writers and the directors did not even bother to fix. Because who the hell cares? This movie already sucks, why bother fixing it? It's like trying to save a sinking Titanic by putting a band-aid on the ship. So the creators of this movie didn't give a shit. Why should we? All we can do is point and laugh at another L won by the big company known as Disney. And to whom it may concern, if you have watched this video so far, give it a thumbs up. Because my back is hurting from writing for this video and now I have to go and record and upload this video in the next few hours. Your likes, comments and shares are appreciated. With that said, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below and as always, it's time for a goodbye.